So today I'm going to talk about how energy is extracted from carbohydrates. So carbs are digested and absorbed as glucose in the body. And then from there, the glucose goes into the liver. And after that, you wonder, what is the fate exactly of the glucose? Well, there's 4 possible options. So first, the glucose can be phosphorylated and metabolized in the liver for energy, or used to make other glucose content components. Second, the glucose can be phosphorylated and stored in the liver as glycogen to be used for later. Third, glucose can be put into the circulation of cells in the body and be used as fuel. And fourth, glucose, if it's consumed in excess and there's no extra place for it to be stored and it's reached the capacity, it's converted into fatty acids and stored as triglycerides. So the oxidation of glucose for the production of energy is 3 processes. There can be 1, which is glycolysis, 2, the TCA cycle, or 3, the electron transport chain. We will be focusing on glycolysis in this video, and visuals always help me learn better. So glycolysis takes place in the cytosol, and it's also an anaerobic reaction, which means no oxygen is required. So the reaction will start out with 6 carbon glucoses and end result in 2 molecules of 3 carbon pyruvates. What first takes place is the phosphorylation of glucose, and this yields glucose 6-phosphate, and ADP. After that, the ATP fuel is stored in the cells, and several enzyme-driven reactions will end result in pyruvate. Glycolysis requires 2 ATP for the phosphorylation of glucose, and in the end it produces 4 ATP. So in the end, the reaction will yield 2 ATP. And so how does it yield 2 ATP in the end when it produces 4 ATP, you may ask? Well, since it produces 4, but you have to subtract the first 2 that it uses originally, 4 minus 2 is 2, so the net number, ATP, is 2. After glycolysis occurs, you have the pyruvate that is formed. So you may ask, what is the fate of pyruvate? Well, it depends on if energy is not needed at the moment or if the energy is going to be used. So say the energy is not going to be needed at the moment. That will result in the resynthesis of glucose. So that can also have 2 results. It can A, be stored as glycogen, or B, it will be used for the synthesis of other carbs. This can also be referred to as gluconeogenesis, which will restart over the whole thing. So say you do want to produce energy. You will then need to decide if it's going to be aerobic or anaerobic. Now remember, aerobic is with oxygen and anaerobic is without oxygen. So if you're going to do the aerobic with oxygen, the pyruvate will be converted into acetyl-CoA. This occurs in the mitochondria. This links the glycolysis to the TCA cycle. Then if you're going to go the anaerobic path, the pyruvate will be converted to lactate. This occurs in the cell with few mitochondria or no mitochondria. This is not efficient because in the end it yields no ATP. When you have the aerobic reaction, it has glucose to pyruvate to lactate. In this reaction, it can go from the muscle to the liver, where lactate is transported to the liver via bloodstream, or the liver to the muscle, where glucose is transported to the muscle via bloodstream. This one can go back and forth. The other option with the aerobic, I messed up on this one, this one's anaerobic, is when glucose goes to pyruvate, which can go back and forth, but once it's converted to acetyl-CoA, it cannot be converted back to pyruvate. So, in summary of glycolysis, glucose is converted into the two pyruvates with a net product of 2 ATP, even though it produces 4. If it does not need energy, it can resynthesize glucose and store it as glycogen or synthesize for other carbs. If it does need energy, it can either be converted to acetyl-CoA for the TCA cycle or be converted to lactate. So if everything's kind of confusing for the glucose part, I could just think of it as you're investing money to make more money. You need to invest the ATP. In the end, you'll get the 4 ATP, the 2 pyruvate, and the 2 NADH, and in the end, it all works out.